Hello, what is up? What's good? Welcome in to the OnlyBets Sports Podcast Wednesday edition. Riding solo for right now. We're going to be waiting on Drew and Stern to join us here momentarily. But I am the Prince of Picks here. I'll be running this show here for a little bit until they jump in. But of course, we do have our guest speaker, Mr. Brian Liberati, former PGA Tour contributor. Of course, he's going to be jumping on here in a little bit to give us his best looks and analysis for the Open Championship, which is starting tomorrow morning. One of my favorite tournaments, if not my favorite tournament of the entire PGA Tour. Absolutely love the Open Championship, formerly known as the British Open. So sometimes I call it the British Open. Forgive me if I mess up, make that mistake. But in any case, love this tournament. I love the pageantry around it, the cultural significance of it, just the aesthetics of it. I find very appealing to me, and I've always been a big fan. And not to mention, the weather is usually a major contributor in the Open Championship. So we'll get Brian's thoughts here momentarily on what we're going to expect here for the Open Championship. But as we're waiting on Mr. Stern and Mr. Drew to join us, we're going to start off in the basketball. We actually have a WNBA tip-off here in about 20 minutes as we're doing this live. We got some day games here in the WNBA, so we'll just go ahead and get into those real quick. What we're looking at here, two games. We got a 12 p.m. Eastern tip and a 1 p.m. Eastern tip in the WNBA today. First up, we're going to look at the Seattle Storm taking on the Chicago Sky. This is the early game. I like the over. We're going to tease this to 165.5. We're going to take the over 165.5 with the Storm in the Sky. I like the fast-paced play. Fast-paced play here in this one. I think the tempo is going to be up in this match. Typically, these two teams like to play an up-tempo style to begin with, so I'm expecting that to happen again tonight. But we're going to tease it down as part of a two-leg parlay. So again, over 165.5, Storm and Sky. And we're going to parlay that with the LA Sparks taking on the Minnesota Lynx. Again, this one's the 1 p.m. Eastern tip-off. We're going to play the same thing. Tease it all the way down to 165.5 and play the over as well. I think we're getting a great price at this at minus 125 for this parlay. Again, I expect both of these games to be an up and down, fast pace of play here between both of these games here. So expecting a lot of points, and I think getting 165.5 for both of them at minus 125 value is a great value and one that I could not pass up. Moving on, we do have some FIBA action as well today. This one might be a little bit harder for you guys to find on your books, so you might have to dig around. Some of you may have it, some of you may don't. If you don't, I apologize, but we can only do what we have here. So here in Illinois, I've got the FIBA Central Basket. This is a women's competition, so this is international women's basketball. Basically, we're looking at the Central American and Caribbean region here for qualifying for the Central Basket Tournament. We're looking at a game this afternoon. It's going to be a 4 p.m. Eastern tip-off. We have the U.S. Virgin Islands taking on Guyana. U.S. Virgin Islands is favored by 27.5 points. I will lay the 27.5 with the U.S. Virgin Islands. U.S. Virgin Islands is probably the top team in this qualification process. Guyana has not looked very good at all. Maybe one of the weaker teams in this group, and I think they are in for an absolute beatdown today against the U.S. Virgin Islands. So give me the USVI. I will lay the 27.5 points with USVI on you. Going to get that at minus 125. All right, we're still waiting for Drew and Stern, so let's just go ahead and transition over to the PGA tournament. Of course, the Open Championship. Can't wait for this one. Like I said before, super excited about this. Let me go ahead and bring in Brian Liberati. Mr. Brian, thank you so much again for joining us as always for your Wednesday spot. Questions for you about the tournament. What can we expect for this one? How's the weather looking? What are the conditions look like? Like I said before, I know the Open Championship typically has weather impacts more significant than most tournaments, I would say. What kind of course are we looking at? What kind of golfers are successful on this course? Are we looking at power hitters? Are we looking at more accuracy type of hitters? I'm going to leave the floor to you. The space is yours. And please, how do you feel about everything?
Good morning, Prince. I will be like you. I'll probably call it the British Open at some point. First, going back to weather, like you were talking about, as of now, I checked the weather this morning. It looks like it's going to be high 60s, low 70s temperature wise. And as of now, the wind does not look horrible right now. So just from today, the weather might not be a factor. Now, the course right now is really hard and firm. It's going to play very fast. if you've seen any pictures of it, it's very brown. I mean, I hear people talking about when they're walking on their fairways how it's almost crunching. So the ball's going to roll a lot. And truthfully, I
Can I
think
ask
any
you one?
player.
I'm sorry, Brian. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Can I ask you one question about that? Does that have, because I know that there's been a lot of heat wave over in the UK. Does that have anything to do with why the grass might be? Because it sounds like, is that like a watering issue? Is it like it's dry? Is it because the grass is dry? Is that why it's brown? That's what I would imagine, right? Is that correlated at all?
It is, but I will say this: a lot of times over like Scotland, Ireland, England, like at the links courses, they don't like to water the courses a lot. They want them to play hard and fast. They don't mind if it browns out some compared to many other courses. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, they have had a drought, but in a way, I don't think the RNA really minds that. Now, um, the course it's called Royal Birkdale. It's in northwest England. It's on the Irish Sea. It's an interesting course. It's a par 70, 7,248 yards. But what's really interesting about this course is the front nine, it's a par 34. There's no par fives, only a couple par three. On the back nine, it's a par 36 with two par fives. So it's really, really interesting, that course. And like I said, the course is firm and fast. I've been reading reports from like Michael Kim and a couple other guys on X. They're hitting a 4-iron 290 yards because of all the row. Michael Kim hit a 3-wood yesterday, 330 yards. Of course, the ball rolled about 70 yards. So I hate to say it this way, but it's going to be a good player, of course, that wins, but it's going to be a lot of luck because when the ball's rolling 60 to 70 yards on the ground, it could kick straight, it could kick sideways. I mean, there's a lot of variables involved that way. One thing I will say, a lot of players are not going to probably use driver on a lot of holes just because of all that, how hard it is and how fast. Plus, compared to 2017, they added, I think, 40 or 50 pop bunkers in the fairways around the greens. So accuracy is going to be very, very important. And one other thing, kind of like last week at the Scottish Open, players who have a great short game, who are very imaginative of their game, because they're going to have to hit low shots, high shots. I mean, there's all kinds of short game shots around the green. And also, which is one other quick thing, fairways are going to me, are going to play narrower than normal because of the ball is going to roll so much, being fast. When it's wet out, the fairways really widen out because the ball has less tendency to go offline as much. So with this hard ground, balls are going to roll off. Although the rough is not so penal right now like it was about a month ago because it's been so dry. That grass is drying out and it's not near as long and thick as it had been, like I said, about a month ago.
Yeah, from what I remember from years past watching the Open Championship, usually accuracy is the key factor on this turn on this course here. I know the course always changes, but the Open Championship in general, just mostly based on weather conditions, right? It's very important to be very accurate because that ball can travel in different directions. Although it looks like weather might not be a condition yet, but we'll see. It's a 4-day tournament, so we'll see how we look later on in the week. But this might be like a novice question. Again, I'm still kind of a beginner in the PGA world, but you mentioned that the par fives are on the back end, on the back nine. Does that give golfers more hope? I would say if they're trailing by a few strokes, the fact that they have some par fives that they can pick up some strokes on, is that just as a general rule, does that kind of give maybe see some more exciting finishes? I would say since the par fives are loaded on the back nine rather than the front nine. Is that any kind of factor at all?
Prince, I think that's a great observation. I think in the back of the minds of some players, they will think like, "Hey, I got two par fives on the back. I can maybe catch up or make up from the front nine." So, no, I think that's a very valid point.
Okay, perfect. And then I'll bring in Stern here in a little bit once we get through your plays. But go ahead and give us what plays are we looking at here? What are your favorite plays for this tournament?
All righty, I'll see if I can do as good or better than last week. I'm going to do with winners this week. I don't know if any of you have ever done this before. I'm going to do winner without Rory and Scotty. And I'll explain in a minute what this is. But I like Colin Morikawa at plus 2,600. Tee to green, he's top three all year long. even though he's been injured off and on and everything, he's a stud from tee to green. And what's really nice too, the last 4 tournaments, he's gained strokes putting over 2 strokes per round. For him, that's huge. He also won the Open back in 2021. I also like Wyndham Clark. Like I said last week, I'm going to ride this guy until he falls off. He's at plus 3,100. His last 6 events, he has 2 wins, a 3rd, a 5th, 11th, and a 13th. I mean, how can you beat that? And last year, he finished tied 4th at the Open. He's got a wonderful short game. His putting is just out of this world right now. Now, going back to that winner without Rory and Scotty, what this means is you have 2 ways to win. Let's say you pick Colin to win. If he wins outright, you win the bet. If Rory or Scotty wins, but Colin finishes second, you win also. So the odds are a little less than if I just pick Colin straight out. Like if I pick Colin straight out, he was plus 3,100, I believe. So doing this winner without, the odds are a little less, but I have more opportunity. Now, I also have, which I hit last week, a top 20 in ties parlay. And again, remember, it's ties too. I have Matt Fitzpatrick and Robert McIntyre at plus 320. I couldn't pass up the price. Fitzpatrick in his last 4, he's second, 22nd, 4th, 3rd. Last year, he finished tied 4th at the Open. He's got the perfect game for this course. He can hit a lot of low shots. He can get the ball running out. He's got the best short game on tour, and his putting is pretty solid too. Robert McIntyre, all year long, he's gained strokes driving every tournament he's played in this year. So he's a wonderful driver of the ball. And the last 4 events, his approach play around the green and putting, he's gained strokes in all those categories. And he finished tied 7th at the Open. Plus, of course, he grew up in Scotland. He loves links courses. So I really like that that parlay at plus 320. Then I have 2 players top 30 in ties. I like Victor Hovland at minus 112. He's been really playing well lately. His whole game is playing well. Plus, I don't just use analytics. I listen to these guys' press conferences and things. He's never sounded more confident in the last 3 years than he has the last week or 2. I hear him talking because in the past, he'd always be going like, oh, I'm not swinging well. I'm playing terrible. He's not saying that right now. I think he's very confident with his swing, and I don't think he's going to play around with it. And the other top 30 in ties I like, Patrick Reed. He finished tied 12th at the Masters. He finished tied 10th at the PGA. I played him top 20 in both of those events. He just plays better at harder courses. Plus, he's got a wonderful short game. He can hit high shots, low shots. He can hit that stinger off the tee, a low shot to control where the ball's going in the flight. I think he's going to do fine this week. Then for Thursday's plays or for tomorrow's plays, I have 2, again, round matchups. Again, not 3-ball matchups, round matchups. I have Colin Morikawa over Patrick Cantley at minus 130. The tee off is 9:42 a.m. Eastern time. Again, I like Morikawa this week. Cantley, I don't know if I can trust. He missed the cut last week. His record here in the Open is not the best. And then I have one more round matchup. I like Wyndham Clark over Shane Lowry. I told you what I thought about Clark. His statistics, everything's fabulous. Lowry did win this Open back in 2019, but if you look at him the last 6-8 events, he's not playing well. His short game's terrible. And again, at this course, you need a wonderful short game. His putting suspect right now. You need to putt well at this course. The tee off on that one is at 9:53 a.m. Again, Eastern Standard Time. And those are my looks for the tournament and tomorrow.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I'm a big fan of the ties play, the top 20 in ties, top 30 in ties. I kind of equate that if you were to use a soccer analogy, kind of like a double chance in soccer, which I'm a big fan of. I love playing double chances, so I love playing those in golf. There's nothing worse than losing because a bunch of guys tied ahead of you, maybe by one stroke or something. So I really like that a lot. Those are by far my favorite plays that you give out, and I'm definitely I'm excited to tell those. Let me go ahead and bring in Stern. Stern, good morning. Any thoughts on the Open Championship? Any questions for Brian? I'm gonna hand it over to you, brother.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, it's reaching 100 degrees here in Philadelphia. I'm sorry I'm late. I did get to spend the day drinking in the city, going to the All-Star festivities. Mind you, not the All-Star game, but the convention center where everything was happening. A lot of fun. Happy to talk about that later. But yeah, hi, Brian. Very interested to hear your opinion on Scotty Scheffler. That's the guy that I'm targeting this week, but I want to hear your opinion before giving out any plays.
Good morning, Moshe. Truthfully, I believe it was good that Scotty missed a cut last week. I know a lot of people are like, what? You know what? Everybody kept talking about that every tournament he played in. I think he got tired of answering and everything. So I got a feeling this week he had a couple extra days at this course. I think he's going to be re-energized, and I really believe he's going to do fine this week.
Well, I'm happy to hear that because this is the ultimate buy low spot, in my opinion, for Scotty Scheffler. I'm going to be attacking this in a ladder type of way. I'm going to put a quarter unit on Scotty Scheffler to win at plus 800, which I think is, like I said, a severe buy low spot. And then you can get top 10, including ties on FanDuel for Scotty Scheffler at minus 115. And I put a half unit on that. I can't fathom the numbers that we have been seeing over the last 3 years and not take the value when it's offered.
I couldn't agree more. When I saw some of the prices too, I was like, wow, because it has been 3 to 4 years since he's been that high of odds or that good of odds to bet on. So I like what you did.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. I mean, I have him basically as a 13.7% win percentage overall, which would translate to a fair odds at around plus 630, plus 800. I would go all the way down to plus 700. It's just too much to ignore. That's really how simple it is. And I'm sorry if you went over this earlier, but Tom Kim, well done. You mentioned last week that this course is set up very similarly. Does that mean that we can expect Tom Kim to do just fine again?
You know, that's a great question. I mean, I know he played well in the Open a couple times. I'm just wondering, sometimes there's like a hangover after you win a tournament. Sometimes, like the next 2 weeks, guys don't play as well. Although Kim, he struck the ball so well last week. I think he'll do okay. I don't believe he can win though.
Okay, fair enough. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure if you can bet people's finishing positions, just like the top 20, top 30, top 40 market, and you can target them actually just individually on DK and I think on FanDuel. So I think the over under was something like 38, if I'm not mistaken, for him. Let me go find it because I definitely put a little bit of money on it. Top 30, including ties, plus 118 sounds like kind of just a two. Granted, he might not win. He might not even hit top 10 or top 20, but getting severe plus money on a top 30 market, any value from your perspective?
Absolutely. When you told me it was plus money, I was like, wow, I guess I missed him there. That's why I took Patrick Reed, top 30, getting plus 122. I love plus money in the top 30 market.
Yeah, I have to tend to agree. And I'm not finding it right now, but I'm pretty sure you can get minus 110 at somewhere between over under 34 or 38 even. Which I mean, my gosh, I get that there's maybe a hangover, but that's just if you're hot, you're hot. Just like you're betting on Clark every single weekend. I feel like Tom Kim has shown us enough that I think we can rely on him pretty generally to kind of get up there.
I agree. Plus, he's not wild. He hits the ball very straight with his irons and driver. So he's putting really well too. So No, I think it's great moves what you did.
Okay, and one last person here that I want to ask you about. Alex Fitzpatrick, what happened last week? And can we expect him to kind of bounce back, or is this just not the course for him?
That's a great question too. I was a little surprised last week, although at the same time, you look the run he's been on for the last 2 months. I mean, he's been playing fabulously, and I don't think the course is wrong. I just think it was time for him to have a little bump in his year. So I would think he should come back and do fine this week. I don't think he can win, but I could see him top 20.
Okay, that sounds fair. I was looking at potentially his market. I think it was a top 40 market and near even money, I believe. Like it was just not even, yeah, top 40 minus 130, including ties. That's what I got him at. And again, not official play. My official play is just Scotty Scheffler, but those were the players that I was kind of playing around with, pun intended.
No, I like those. I like those plays. Heck, that's a good price, top 40 for him. Really good.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked at that. Also playing around with make the cut parlay. If I do anything like that, I might just put that on Twitter. But Prince, I'm gonna hand it back to you, buddy. You were running the show.
All right, yeah, no problem. All right, well, let me bring in Drew then. Drew, I don't know if you can hear us. Good morning. Are you with us? Then, if you are, do you have any questions for Brian about the PGA Tour here, the Open Championship coming up? Leave it over to you, Drew.
I have some shaky signal because I'm in outer space. I'm just kidding. But no,
You sound like it. I'm just kidding.
Hear you guys for sure. That'd be funny if I was in outer space, actually. But anyways, I don't have any further questions. I'm just here in Arizona preparing for the monsoon/aboobs starting tomorrow here in Arizona. It's good because we ended a dry spell though of 105 straight days, which is good. So I'm gonna try to just stay safe in general. But the only bright side is it'll be cooler temperatures here. But I appreciate all your info, Brian, and I love listening to you every Wednesday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And yeah, I saw a video of it looks like you guys had a dust storm maybe a couple days ago. Was it yesterday or something? I saw some video circulating from an airplane that was trying to land, and they had to reroute because of the dust storm that was coming. It was pretty intense. Those dust storms and monsoons are no joke out there in Arizona. As someone who lived 10 years of my life, so yeah, prayers for 2 minutes. Make sure you guys definitely stay safe out there. But Brian, anything else that you want to add for the PGA Open Championship before we move on to our next sport?
Prince, really not at the moment. I mean, certainly I want to watch the first round tomorrow and see what goes on before I really look at some Friday plays, because I don't know with this course what's going to happen with like I said, with the conditions the way they are right now.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's especially seeing how everything works out, especially with the weather. We'll see how the weather goes and see if it ends up having any impact or not. But as always, thank you, Brian. I appreciate your Wednesday's contribution. As always, great stuff, great PGA information. And I'm always learning every time you break it down. So really appreciate that. And of course, we always say if you want to stay on, of course, you can feel free to stay on with us throughout the duration of the show. And we'll get to our question of the day, which I think is a fun one here on a little bit. And hopefully,
Wait.
yeah. Okay, what's up?
Can
Yeah.
I gloat? Can I gloat on the
Absolutely.
All-Star game
And
just for a
always
second?
of you, of course, please.
Okay, first of all, Cody Bellinger and Ben Rice in the first freaking inning, and I called this out yesterday, not specifically them, but I said, do not bet the no-run first inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and who do you have on? Cody Bellinger. 2 RBI single, unbelievable. Ben Rice comes in, hits another single, knocks in another run, and that was basically the game. Yeah, sure, there was one more run scored by the AL. I think it was in the 7th or 8th inning, but nothing, absolutely nothing else from the NL side. Cody Bellinger gets the MVP award for the All-Star game. Yeah, we cashed that plus 120 ticket. I told you, it is a full-on pick'em, and you cannot just give value based on some batters being out. So I'm happy about it. The Yankees went off. I had a great day, and I just wanted to gloat for just 1 second. All right, you can go ahead to the question.
No, no, man. Anytime you get a chance to go, please. That's. I mean, Being right on a play is always a fun thing and something you should be proud of. But actually, let's just we'll just keep it on baseball on the World Series because I am interested. You were there at the fan festivities before the game started. What are your thoughts on everything that happened in the All Star game? Let me give you a few minutes and just talk about it.
I mean, I really thought it was awesome experience. I think that they're bringing the experience back to the fans, where I think a lot of it. Now, granted, I do wish that you were playing for something in the All-Star game. That kind of upsets me. That it really doesn't mean all that much, but it looks like they're taking it actually kind of seriously. To really kind of match up the best players of both leagues against each other. Funny enough, you did miss out on the two best players in baseball, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. So I can't. I was telling my wife yesterday. I was like, listen, we get the best players in the world, except for the two best players in the world. But overall, I thought it was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. Baseball is something that I just like to watch, and being able to see the caliber of players and seeing how they strategically try to line up their pitches to face specific batters. I thought that was a lot of fun. Like Dylan Cease, you know. It was a lot of fun. It just was. And I couldn't say enough nice things about it. I think the atmosphere down in Philadelphia was unbelievable. I love that they booed every single person who wasn't from a farm system near here. You get the real Philly experience all the way around. And then on the boots on the ground yesterday, I mean, the whole city was mad. You had World Cup, which was so much fun. I got to sit down in the middle of the city. They put out open seating. They had beers being served by vendors on different sides, and they had the screens up with the sound and even a DJ down the street. And then going into the All-Star Experience, Capital One, whatever it was called, All-Star Village. I mean, I by the way, I just want to say I haven't thrown a baseball in probably 2 decades, probably at least 15 to 20 years. And on my second pitch, I was able to hit 61 miles per hour, which the guy was pretty impressed by. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I know I threw harder than this back in the day, but three pitches in, being able to hit 61 miles per hour was a lot of fun. Got to walk around, got a lot of free baseball cards, free memorabilia, plenty of things to throw out in 6 months.
Yeah, I think that's called old man strength, Moshe. Sorry to break it to you, but and that never leaves you clearly. But yeah, no, I thought it was a lot of fun. And one more question for you before we move on. What did you think of the? There's been a lot of publicity made about when the kids rode out on their bicycles onto the field, and they were standing with the players, and all the players had the little sparklers and stuff. What were your thoughts on that?
So I actually don't know if I saw that. I was a little bit distracted with the family coming back, but I mean, every year they kind of have local kids come in, and I think that's a wonderful experience. It's similar to, I believe, how in the soccer world, where you come out with a team, like you see them kind of lining up with like a bunch of kids. I think it's another way to do outreach in the community and to really build into something special so that these kids remember what baseball is all about. And it's really about bringing everyone into it and being excited. Another thing about yesterday's All-Star Village where I went, they they had multiple fields inside the convention center, which was really cool, for little kids to be able to play baseball. And both of my kids have never played baseball before. Sure, I swung the bat with my 4-year-old every once in a while, just trying to get it. Terrible at it. But they had, like, I guess, semi-professional coaches there, and they really took it upon themselves to make sure that everybody was involved. And getting kids involved is really the first step into making sure that your sport survives long term.
Yeah, 100%. And I actually loved it. I thought for me personally, I think baseball does a really great job leaning into its culture. Just in general, I thought it was a really outstanding thing that they did last night. I think people were some people thought it was a little corny. They were on the other side of it, but I loved it. I thought it's the pageantry. It's around baseball. It was Americana, right? I think, like I said, I think baseball probably does the best job of all the sports in just really digging in and knowing how to like hit those those chords with the culture of baseball, right? Of course, you got the Field of Dreams game, right? That's going to be coming up here pretty soon. That's always a spectacle. So just in general, I think baseball does just a really, really good job of getting into its roots and reminding people kind of where the passion for baseball all started. Yeah, Drew, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I love that you mentioned that because baseball has always been, like known as a sport where kids can kind of because a lot of people, started off with t-ball and stuff like that. Even one of the greatest players ever, Willie Mays, he was named the Say Hey Kid. One of the reasons why for that is he would just go around, greet people and basically say hey to them. Like he would go to kids on the street, play baseball with them, and you see that a lot when it comes to these baseball players. They're very cool because most of them playing this since they were a kid, and it's just a really great sport to do. And you notice that a lot with baseball players, and what the sport was always known for. The sport was always known for to basically bring people together.
Yeah, and I thought that whole spectacle with the kids riding out on their bicycles and everything, I thought it gave off Sandlot vibes. I think that's probably what they were trying to go for. If you know, you know. If you don't know, shame on you. Go watch The Sandlot as soon as you can. One of the greatest movies of all time. But all right, so we already covered the WNBA and FIBA earlier on the show before you guys jumped in. I doubt you guys have any plays for that or any thoughts, but I'll just pass it by you anyway, Stern. Any thoughts on the W at all?
No, not at all. Still working on my model so that I could have an opinion soon, but nothing for me today.
Perfect. Drew, anything for you on the W?
No, I just have one play for soccer.
Soccer. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. Well, why don't you go ahead and get into to your soccer play, and then I'll get into my plays, and then we'll get Stern's thoughts on everything. What do you got for us in the World Cup? I'm assuming today.
Yep, definitely. I'll just keep it straightforward. I like the Argentina versus England. I like draw. I think both these teams are pretty equal in my, and I honestly expect this game to go to extra time. Whether it's a 2-2 game, a 1-1 game, I do expect both teams to score. Like I know you mentioned. So I like draw here at plus 190 since I can't really necessarily pick a side in that case.
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid look. Absolutely, these two teams, there's not much in between them, so I think you're kind of splitting hairs when you're talking about who's going to win, and I think the odds reflect that as well. When you're looking at advance odds, the team to advance, Argentina last I checked was plus 110. England is around minus 115, minus 120, so close to a pick 'em. Looks like England is slightly favored, but in my opinion, anytime you can get Argentina to advance at plus money, that's hard to pass up. So I'll have to think about that one. I'm still not committed onto a side. But I do like both teams to score in this one at minus 120. I don't really trust either defensive unit here to keep a clean sheet. So I think there's enough offensive talent on both sides to get one in the back of the net, and we'll see what happens after that. But definitely can see both teams scoring. So it can be both teams to score between England and Argentina at minus 120. I'm going to go ahead and recap yesterday's game. I should have done that before we got into the place, but it's all right. I'll do it now. Kind of my thoughts just real quickly on what I thought we saw between France and Spain. Of course, shocking result to a lot of people. France not getting on the board. Spain winning that one 2-0. In all honesty, I thought it was a couple ugly goals. The penalty was unfortunate from the French defender. I mean, he did not see Lamine Yamal at all. He was clearly focused on the ball. So that's just an unfortunate situation. It happens. It was kind of a fluke penalty, but it was a penalty. It was a right call. And so just unfortunate for France to give away that kind of a goal. And the second goal was more of a deflection. It just kind of bounced off of the defender. And Pedro Porro, the defender from Spain, he continued his run. And credit to him for doing that. You're taught at a young age to always continue your run. And as a defender, whoever was marking him should have trailed him, and they didn't. So he was wide open. The French defenders were ball watching, and he ended up getting a clear pass to the goal and put that one in and put them up 2-0. And after that, it was always going to be a tall task for France to score against the Spanish side that has had 6 clean sheets in this World Cup. So this Spanish defense is no joke. But just allowed 1 goal throughout the entire tournament. So credit to Spain. I thought they came out with more intensity. I was watching the game with my father, and we're like, what is going on with this French team? They looked flat. You know what I compare it to a lot is to the U.S. game against Belgium, and the fact that how the vibes were so high with U.S. and then in that match, something happened and the U.S. just came out flat. And I thought it was the same thing with France yesterday. For whatever reason, it just came out flat. I thought they were second to every ball. I thought their intensity did not match the moment. And honestly, if you were to tell me that this wasn't a World Cup semifinal, I would never have known. I just based on the mediocrity of the match in general, I just thought it was not a very entertaining match, and I thought France really kind of dropped the ball, and they have only themselves to blame, really, for not making it to the final. But definite credit goes to Spain in that one. And look, this is a quality team, and we'll see what they do here in the final. But just wanted to give my thoughts on that. Stern, anything for you today, or any thoughts about yesterday, first of all, and then anything for you today in the World Cup before I get into another soccer play that I have for later tonight?
Well, I was definitely on the right side of it. I mentioned yesterday that I did place a wager on Spain's 3-way money line, which came in no problem at plus 200 something. Unfortunate that I didn't make it official on the show, but I very much expected Spain to at least to be more reliable in scoring, and I trusted their defense just a little bit more than France's. And that's kind of the way it played out, unfortunately for France. But well done, Spain. I'm very interested to see, no matter who, Argentina or England. I don't really care. I kind of lean Spain in either case.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. No matter who they play, I think Spain will end up being the favorite against either of those teams. And then, do you have anything for today? I know we probably talked about it yesterday, but we'll recap it again if you have anything else for England, Argentina today.
Well, I love both teams to score. I love the over. I think that we're going to get the opposite of what we saw yesterday, just regression to the mean, all over. I would have put both teams to score as an official bet at minus 105, where the price was 2 days ago. The minus 120 is tough to stomach. I would wait. We're probably going to see a cagier match to begin the game if nobody can score in the first 5 minutes. So I'm fine with waiting to try to see if you can get plus money or better on both teams to score live.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I think this is a great live betting opportunity, this game in general, because I do think we're both in lockstep with we're going to see goals at some point. I would imagine once that first goal goes in, I think it will open everything up. So definitely live betting opportunities. And this one, if you don't see goals early, might be a good opportunity to play some overs, some BTTS, something like that, in terms of seeing goals at some point. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that's a good way to approach it. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We'll move on to my other soccer play tonight. We got domestic leagues that are coming back into action here as we're winding down the World Cup. Just a couple games left in the World Cup. So we have the USL Championship. This is basically the second division of soccer here in the United States. A couple of plays here I'm looking at. We're going to do a 2-pick parlay here. I am looking at Indy 11. They are taking on Miami FC. This is not the Inter Miami from Messi. This is a second division team, Miami FC. I'm looking at Indy 11 draw no bet in this one as part of a 2-leg parlay. Indy 11 undefeated in 7 straight against Miami FC. So we're going to ride the trends here with this one. We'll take Indy 11 to avoid a defeat. Of course, if they draw, we get push insurance on that. But we're going to take Indy 11 draw no bet. We're going to parlay that with another game tonight. This is going to be between Sporting Jacksonville, and Pittsburgh Riverhounds. I'm looking at over 1.5 goals in this one at minus 105. We're looking at Sporting Jacksonville. This is a woeful team in the second division. This is their first season. This is their inaugural season. They absolutely look like it. Winless in 15 straight. They've lost 11 of those 15. They have 0 wins on this season. So they have not won a single game. They're giving up, on average, nearly 3 goals per game. It's about 2.65 goals per game allowed for Sporting Jacksonville. So we could even play Pittsburgh team total over 1.5. We'd probably be safe, but I'll just take the game total over 1.5 in this one. Parlayed with Indy 11, draw no bet. And you're going to get that parlay, near plus odds at minus 105. I think that's an outstanding price for 2 teams that should be in position to cover both of these plays. All right, that's really gonna do it for me. I don't have anything else for soccer. We covered basketball, we covered WNBA, we covered FIBA, we covered PGA golf. Before we get into our question of the day, Stern, anything else that you want to talk about before we get into our question?
No, I don't think so. We have a lot going on coming up at least. So I'm excited to get into football. I'm excited to be, going back into the baseball season. I feel very sad at night when I have no baseball to research.
Yeah, I bet. I know. I'm kind of feeling sad that the World Cup's coming to an end personally here myself, but that's all right. We got the domestic leagues coming in. The great thing about soccer is 24/7, 365. You can always find a soccer match going on somewhere to bet on, no matter what time of the day is or what the calendar month, day, year, whatever it is. Drew, anything else for you today before we get into our question of the day?
Yeah, I actually do have a fact of the day. The fact of the day is how many goals, like the most scored goals in a single World Cup. It was actually the last World Cup with 72 last World Cup in 2022. So pretty crazy because something I was also looking up. This World Cup, of course, has shattered that because there's a lot more teams. There's 294 goals for total. So we're gonna have to do the math with like what the average would have been in 2022 if there was as many teams added. There was, but before they changed the format, there were 172 will probably stand. It will forever stand the pre-format record. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, and I think these records are meant to be broken. And just wait until we get to 64
Yes.
teams in the 2030 World Cup, which is what the president of FIFA has been throwing around there. That where he's looking to expand it again to 64 teams in the 2030 World Cup, which, my opinion, and I think that's way too many. I think you're diluting the competition at that point, but we'll see. Money talks, and
He's
any
trying to
chance
get
they can
Italy
get.
to make it.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that's what it is, Drew. You know what? I think you guys will have a pass finally. If it goes to 64, you guys have no excuse to not make it at that point. But yeah, like I said, it's all financial at
Every
this
year
point.
Italy
So
doesn't make it, they expand it.
yeah, right. Yeah, until they just give you guys an automatic bid and say, screw it, we need you guys in there. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I hope they don't, but I think 48 was good, but we'll see. Like I said, anytime they can make money, they will absolutely do it. FIFA is not opposed to making money. It will go as low as they need to go to get that dollar. So, but all right, so let's go ahead and get into the question of the day. But actually, what I wanted to do before we get into the question, you guys had a great question on Monday. I wasn't able to make the show, but I wanted to comment on that because I thought it was a really fun question. You guys were talking about what is your favorite movie, your favorite series, shows, and stuff like that. I love movies, I love shows, so I'm a big fan of both of those, of course. So real quick, just to give my thoughts on those, because I wanted to give my answer because I was kind of mad. I was like, oh, I wish I was on the show to give my thoughts on that. So for animated, right? Because you guys kind of broke it down to animated and like what or what you call real life or whatever. For animated, it's got to be Simpsons. I mean, me and Sir have talked about this before. Hands down, The Simpsons is maybe the best show of all time. So absolutely love The Simpsons. Love everything about it. Just iconic, right? What can you say about it? And then in terms of like movies, I couldn't narrow it down to one, but I would say three. Three movie series, right? Austin Powers, absolutely love Austin Powers, hysterical. Rush Hour, and Anchorman. As you can see, I'm into comedies. Absolutely love all three of those. Like anytime those are on, I'll probably stop what I'm doing and I'll at least watch like a little bit of it. Just because I just those are movies, and I'm not typically one to watch movies like more than once, but those are movies that I just absolutely love watching, and probably some of my favorites. So yeah, I just want to put that out there because that's a really fun topic for me. Any thoughts on those, Stern, Drew, before we get into my question of the day?
Yeah, you got to add The Hangover to that comedy list. I think that
Yeah,
is.
Hangover is really good.
I think Anchorman
Possible.
and Hangover are the two best modern comedies and instant classics.
Oh, and Borat. I forgot about Borat. Sorry, I gotta throw Borat in there. I'm a huge fan of Borat. I know it's very controversial, but
I've got to say, as a Jewish person watching Borat,
I
makes
know.
me a little bit uncomfortable.
I get it. I get it. Like I said, maybe I should have said that. I understand. It's super controversial. So, all right, we'll leave that one out.
I get what he's trying to do. The problem is people don't
It's just
realize,
so awkward.
but people don't realize it's a joke,
Yeah.
They really believe in what he's saying.
Yeah, 100%. That's it.
It's hard.
Yeah, I think
it's
that's
hard truth for the world.
It's just the awkwardness of it all. I love it. Drew, any thoughts on those Rush Hour?
Oh yeah,
Say
I love
that again,
all
I'm sorry?
of those. I would say, I was saying, yeah, I would love all of those. The two that I would add, or for like all-time comedies, I love that you said Anchorman, and Zoolander. Those are two of my favorite ever. I've watched so many times. Like all of those kind of movies.
Yes, so many good so many good movies back in the day that the comedies today aren't the same as what they used to be, because there's just, well, let me not go on a tangent. I'll just stop there. There's reasons why they're not as funny today as they used to be. But all right, so here's my question of the day. Let's see. All right. What is the first music CD that you ever owned, or cassette tape, or 8-track, or vinyl record, however far back you go? What's the first one that you ever owned? Stern, I'll go to you first.
Probably Barney, for being honest.
Barney?
You're going back. Yeah.
Is that one that okay, all right. Let me rephrase it. Hold on. That doesn't count. That does not count, Mosh. We're not one that your mom bought you when you were like 3 years old or something, and we're like, hey, look, I got you your favorite Sesame Street CD. No. Like one that you like when you were, okay, I don't know, at least 10 years old, 12 years old. Like, what's like the first like actual music CD, not like I love you, you love me type of stuff. Like, what's the real CD that you first had?
I don't know. So I grew up in a time where you were really downloading songs from LimeWire. It wasn't really CDs. You weren't buying full, albums anymore by the time that I was really kind of getting into
Not
music.
that much older than you. I think CDs were still
No, they were
CDs
still a
a thing.
So what I did when I was a kid was I would download all the songs that I wanted, and I would burn my own CDs so that I could listen to all the songs that I wanted at the same time.
So you were a Napster kid. Okay, so
Yeah, that's what
right.
my grandpa did. My grandpa did that.
Man, you guys never went to the store and like picked up a CD ever? Like,
I did.
never?
I'm trying. So, but I bought like the classics. Like I bought
I did a lot of
Dark Side of the Moon. I would buy like Jimi Hendrix.
So what's the first one you bought? Do you remember the first one you bought?
I don't. I really don't.
Oh, all right.
Oh, you know what it might have been? Embarrassingly, Nickelback. It could have been. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
At least you preface it with embarrassingly.
I don't know if I bought it. It could have been Jim Croce, honestly. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, this question.
Sorry.
Whatever.
Buddy.
All right. Maybe Drew, can you save this question, or is this just going down the toilet? What do you think?
I get exactly what Stern's saying, because I know LimeWire came out like in 2000, and my grandpa would pirate a lot of CDs. I can say this now because they can't charge him for something 26 years ago. But anyways, that and stuff. But my mom would actually buy me CDs when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I grew up with hard rock. I grew up with rock around the household. She wanted me to raise me on rock. But my first CD, I'm going to skip. I can't say it was an artist who's in extremely big trouble now. But the CDs beside though, like the Beatles were my favorite. Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, Y&T was one. There was Scorpions. She got me a bunch of CDs that like for hard rock, and there was one CD that I wasn't allowed to get anything with explicit on it. I really wanted, because my cousin had it, I wanted to get a Rage Against the Machine CD. Probably inappropriate for kids, but I would listen to it with my cousins when I would go over there. And a lot of Rage Against the Machine was one of my favorite bands too.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, this was more about a question of like, what was the first CD you bought? Not necessarily your mom or your dad or your grandma or whatever, but like you actually went to the store and bought for yourself. I don't know, for whatever reason, it sticks out for me. So I'll just tell you what mine was. And it's kind of a little interesting story behind it. My very first CD, I was probably like maybe like 12 years old. And one of my friend's brothers worked at like a Sam Goody. And which those of you who don't know, Sam Goody used to be a music store where they sold CDs, cassette tapes, all that kind of stuff. And basically, we went there. It was in the mall. And the first CD I ever bought was Bone Thugs and Harmony, East 1999 Eternal. If you know, you know. And it was explicit, and I wasn't really supposed to buy it because obviously it wasn't a friend's brother worked there, and so he just gave it to me on the low. I paid him. He put it through whatever the system he had to do to clear it and say that I was of age. And I got it, and I hid it from my mom. She never knew about it until years later, and that was the first CD that I ever bought. That kind of put me on the whole hip hop scene. Was it kind of put me on, a rabbit hole to other rappers and stuff like that, and it just kind of put me on that whole genre of music. But interesting that I really wasn't even supposed to buy it, and good thing I had good connections as a 12-year-old. I was able to get a nice little explicit CD on the low. That was a really good rebellious moment for me in my childhood.
That's so funny. By the way, I do remember the first CD that I bought. It wasn't music. It was Bill Cosby.
Oh Lord! Woo! All right.
So I can say my first CD. Then my first CD that was given to me was R. Kelly.
I had a feeling that's where you were going to because you're like, oh, he's in a big trouble. I was gonna be like, what is it, R. Kelly?
I appreciate Stern for
Thanks, buddy.
Hey man, look, we didn't know what was going to happen back then, all right? So everyone was buying his music. It wasn't just you.
Neither
He's
did
one
the
of the top
kids.
selling artists of all time. Neither did the
I'm
kids.
so sorry. That was a joke that
Ooh,
popped
sir.
out.
Ooh, all right. Moving on.
Oh wait, I actually do remember the first CD I actually bought. So to break the ice here, the one I actually bought with my own money because I would get like a certain allowance for just doing like chores in general, and that's when like you can buy. I think it was like less than like $5 sometimes, or even $5. There's a place called Rasmussen Records in Berkeley, California, that I would go to, and I would like that would be my fun time, like a hobby. Then now, people, if you show your kids CDs, like what the heck is this? But the first one I got, I will never forget. It was Led Zeppelin, like Mega Box CD that had like multiple albums in one, and I was like so happy it was at a discount. Like it was like a value if you got all three CDs like individually, it would cost like $30. But if you bought the Mega Box thing with the so I used like $10 of my allowance to buy it, and I would just listen to Led Zeppelin the whole time.
Yeah, outstanding. That's awesome stuff. Funny to go back in time and see what kind of the stuff we listen to and things we how we got introduced to music. I always find that fascinating. I'm a big music fan myself, so I like pretty much all, yeah, different times, yeah, but I like all genres of music really. There's really not one that I can say that I can't stand. So I become more well-rounded through my maturity, I would say. But all right, let's go ahead and recap our plays, and we could just end the show. Drew, go ahead and recap your plays.
Yeah, I have one play today. It's gonna be Argentina versus England. Three-way money line draw at plus 190.
Perfect. And then Stern, you want to recap yours?
Yes, but I'm also going to add an album that I am currently obsessed with. Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. Highly recommend it. Earlier albums, a lot of slow blues. That is kind of my jam these days. Yeah, let me recap Brian's plays. I think he dropped off. PGA winner without Rory and Scotty. Colin Morikawa plus 2,600. Wyndham Clark plus 3,100. Top 20 including ties. Matt Fitzpatrick and Robert McIntyre plus 320. Top 30 market, including ties, Victor Hovland, minus 112. And I have another top 20 market. I might have written this down wrong. Patrick Reed, plus 122. Is that supposed to be a plus 40, top 40 market or top 30? Anyway, round one matchup.
Sorry, I was looking at it. It says top 30 in ties is what I'm looking at.
Oh,
here.
I just wrote it down wrong.
For Patrick Reed.
Top 30, including ties, Patrick Reed, plus 122. Round one matchups. Colin Morikawa over Patrick Cantley minus 130 and Wyndham Clark over Shane Lowry minus 124. For my picks, I am taking Scotty Scheffler to win the Open plus 800 quarter unit. Top 10 market, including Ty Scotty Scheffler minus 115, half a unit. All right, Prince.
All right, guys. Yep. So for the World Cup, we're looking at England, Argentina. Both teams to score at minus 120. In the USL Championship tonight, we're going to take Indy 11 on our draw no bet, parlayed with Jacksonville, Pittsburgh over 1.5 goals. Comes in at minus 105. On FIBA Central Basket for the women's, we're looking at U.S. Virgin Islands. We're going to lay the 27.5 USVI minus 27.5 at minus 110. And in the WNBA today, we're looking at the Storm Sky over 165.5, parlayed with the Sparks and the Lynx also over 165.5, and that parlay comes in at minus 125. That's going to do it for us today, guys. This has been the Wednesday edition of the Only Bet Sports Podcast for Drew Luki, Sternbeck's. Big shout out to Mr. Brian Liberati for his Wednesday spot. Always love hearing his PGA breakdown. There is none better in the business than him. Let's cash out these tickets. Have a great afternoon. We'll be back again tomorrow live at 11:30 a.m. Eastern at Only Bets Podcast. Stay tuned for that. And remember, Bone Thugs and Harmony, East 1990 Eternal. Go check it out. Later.